Now Markets. I'm Diego Castro. Before we delve into the equity space, here are the top stories of the hour. Airport authorities are now bracing for the expected influx of passengers this Holy Week. Let's bring in Gio Robles for updates, reporting live from the NAIA. Gio, how's the situation there?
Diego, it's all hands on deck for NAIA authorities as arriving and departing passengers are expected to peak today, Holy Wednesday. The Manila International Airport Authority, or MIA, said that daily passenger count could reach 140,000. That's higher compared to the usual daily average of up to 120,000. Security is tight here at the Terminal 3 after authorities beefed up efforts to ensure peace and order. Despite the expected influx of travelers, the situation appears normal. Since 5 a.m., we have not seen long lines, but officials remind passengers not to be complacent on punctuality. We were also able to talk to some of the passengers. Charmaine and her family, bound for Cebu, got here early as they don't want any stress for their much-awaited break. We also chanced upon some travelers who plan to spend the Lenten break here in Luzon. Sok and her sisters, who came all the way from Davao, are off to the City of Pines for the Holy Week traditions. Others opted to spend the night at the airport so they won't miss their flights. Diego, NAIA is expected to get busier this afternoon and later this evening when most people finish their work shifts. Back to you.
Thank you for those updates, Gio Robles, reporting live from the NAIA. Over at the Parañaque Integrated Terminal Exchange, or PTEX, foot traffic is expected to reach 110,000 this Holy Wednesday, the peak of the Holy Week exodus. This is higher than the passenger count of 102,000 recorded yesterday, but the PTEX management that said that the influx of passengers will not reach the 200,000 level recorded last Christmas season. As of this morning, aircon bus trips to Bicol are already fully booked, but ordinary buses are still open for walk-in passengers. The PTEX management is expecting more passengers to travel in the coming days. They are advised to check bus schedules on Facebook before heading to the terminal, as some bus lines may have limited trips this long weekend. Inflation in the country dropped further in March, with slower increases in the food and transport indices driving the downward trend. Fresh data from the Philippine Statistics Authority shows that headline inflation in the country settled at 7.6% in March. That's lower than the 8.6% logged in February and 8.7% from January this year. The latest figure brings the country's year-to-date inflation at 8.3%. The March figure falls within the Bangko Central's forecast range of 7.4 to 8.2%, but much faster than the BSP's target range of 2 to 4%. The downward trend was mainly driven by the food and non-alcoholic beverages group, posted a lower inflation rate of 9.3% from the 10.8% in February. This was followed by transport with an inflation rate of 5.3% in March from the 9% in the previous month. Core inflation, meanwhile, climbed to 8% in March from 7.8% in the preceding month. We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Diego Castro. A consultant of the Justice Department warns that the oil spill in Oriental Mindoro could reach the waters of the Tubataha Reef in Palawan. This after the Philippine Space Agency shared satellite images taken by the U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. The images showed the extent of the oil spill, which seems to be spreading in the direction of Coron, Palawan. According to the DOJ consultant, the spill may even reach the waters of Mindanao. However, the Philippine Coast Guard clarifies that the direction of the spill would still depend on the direction of the wind.
It's a live-moving, dynamic entity na marami siyang masasagasaan. So pag pumiti ulit yung hangin, baka mahati siya, saan siya pupunta? Baka Puerto Princesa, Honda Bay, o kaya Tubataha. Baka umabot na Mindanao.
It's just a hint kung what could be on ground. That's why we send our ships to check and yung status here sa ground. So perhaps I say so that we can be more factual and maybe prevent any unnecessary anxieties.
China warns that increased American military presence in the Philippines may only escalate tensions in the region. This as the Philippine government announced the locations of the additional Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement or EDCA sites in the country. Beijing denounced the move as Washington's attempt to strengthen its military deployment in the region.
事实非常清楚，美方出于一己私利，抱持零和思维，不断在本地区加强军事部署，其结果必然是加剧局势紧张，危害地区和平稳定。地区国家应该深入地想一想，到底什么才是合适的，什么才是互利的，从而做出真正有利于自身利益、有利于地区和平稳定。
The U.S. Pentagon, however, explained that it had no intentions of establishing permanent military bases in the Philippines.
We're not seeking permanent basing here, so you're going to see an increase of rotational forces in the region, but this is more about supporting combined training, being able to respond to natural disaster or humanitarian disasters in the region, but this is really about regional readiness.
With the identification of additional sites under EDCA, local government leaders and experts warn of the implications of increased military presence in the country. Maricel Halili with the rest of the details.
Philippine and U.S. troops will soon have more facilities for security and defense in the country. Malacanang earlier named the 4 locations being considered as additional sites under the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, or EDCA. These are the Camilo Ocias Naval Base and Lalo Airport in Cagayan, Camp Melchor de la Cruz in Camu Isabela, and Balabac Island in Palawan. In total, the Philippines will have 9 EDCA sites once the facilities are constructed in the 4 additional locations. The administration has been very clear that these sites will not be used as bases by the U.S. military, but some local officials remain opposed to the agreement.
Mas malaking ihamak ang possibility if we connect ourselves to our neighbors, especially in China. Amerikano, wala ko report pa. Ang layo pa sa atin.
For the Philippine Army, the expanded base access provides an opportunity to improve the country's military facilities.
Malaking tulong yon because of course, we have to admit, kulang tayo sa pondo but they can provide the funds para sa improvement ng ating kampo na mutually pwedeng gamitin.
While there are some economic benefits to having additional EDCA sites, one expert believes that long-term security risks must be taken into consideration.
Of course, China will not take that very lightly. China is, in fact, in my opinion, viewing the approval of the Philippine government to allow the expansion of EDCA as an utter betrayal of their bilateral understanding made during the January 2023 visit of President Bongbong.
Banlawi adds that the location for the EDCA sites were strategically chosen to prepare the U.S. for any military contingency in the Indo-Pacific region.
If there will be military confrontations between the United States and China, surely the Philippines will be involved in a war, and we will be the target of military attack of China. We hope that China and the United States will not go to armed conflict.
Amid all the different views on EDCA, the Department of Foreign Affairs believes that the Philippines will greatly benefit from these additional sites. Strengthening the country's defense capabilities is among them. For News 5, Maricel Halili, We Are One News.
And that's it for this hour. I'm Diego Castro. Join us again at 11:15 a.m. We Are One News. All sides, all the time.